Hello and welcome to Engine Adventures review of this 2020, yes you heard that right, this one's a little bit older, Kia Sportage. This one's still in the media fleet and I hadn't driven one before. It's kind of getting dated for Kia's lineup, so expect a new one soon, but really not a bad vehicle at all. I've enjoyed driving it. This one is the SX with the turbo gas direct injection engine. It has a good amount of power. It gets up and goes. Fuel mileage has been okay. I've averaged about 25 over the week I've had it, so not bad. This particular trim has a few more features than the other trims, being the top end one, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. Here is that 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with 237 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. Front-wheel drive standard. This version is all-wheel drive, which costs about $1,500 more, but it is a really good engine as far as these small turbos go. This vehicle is a smaller vehicle, but Chevy has a similar 2-liter inline 4 turbocharged engine and a few other manufacturers where there's a ton of turbo lag and the vehicle doesn't really move until you get up to 3,000 RPM. This one does have turbo lag, but it's not nearly as bad. I feel like you can still merge fairly easily, and then you still feel when it gets into boost and pulls real hard, but it's just not as big of a delay as other vehicles. So I've been impressed with this engine so far. The power's good. The fuel mileage is still pretty good. So I've been getting around 25, but in other vehicles of this size, I've been getting about 25 and not had nearly as much power. Let's take a look at some of the features on the SX. So the SX is the top of the line trim, and you can see LED headlights. These are actually amber colored for the turn signals, and they are projectors there. And it does have LED lights down here that are next to a set of driving lights. They're not actual fog lights. And you can see you're there. There is a suite of sensors in there, and getting a bad reflection, so I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, there's stuff up there too. It does have adaptive cruise control and blind spot monitoring and the lane departure warning, rear cross traffic warning, forward collision, and a few others. It does have the lane keep assist as well. So anyway, quite a few nice standard safety features on this. The standard rims are 18-inch, but the SX comes with these 19-inch rims, and I think they look pretty good. I like the look of those rims. This one is upgraded with these crossbars that are $225, and we'll look at those a little bit later, but they're really easy to adjust. They give you a key. All you do is turn that and do the same thing on the other side, then you can slide it to where you need it. This one is equipped with a tow package, but it's that small, I believe that's the 1.5-inch receiver instead of the 2-inch. So if you're getting a bike rack or something to put on there, be sure you're getting the right size receiver. And then it's got the 4-pin plug. Inside, this Sportage SX is very nicely equipped, and as you can tell, this one has nearly all the options. But we'll start over here. This is just the interior dimmer switch, blind spot warning, lane departure warning. That's to open the trunk, and a blank switch there. Down there, hood latch is on the left-hand side. One thing, it does have the ability to lock out the other windows, as most vehicles do. But the difference here is you can roll them down while that is still locked. So that is a vehicle every vehicle should have, but only a couple do. I've only noticed it on this one and some Mercedes vehicles. So every vehicle should have that ability, so the driver can still control the switches even when it's locked. Over here, the screen's not real big and there's not a lot going on with it, which is fine for me. I mean, I don't stare at the screen the whole time I'm driving, but it's fairly intuitive. It's easy to use. I don't know. It's overall not astounding, not some crazy awesome 12-inch screen or whatever. That's probably a 7-inch screen, but it is, we'll look at that on the Monroe 8-inch screen. There you go. So it's an 8-inch screen, but yeah, does everything you need it to without being too complicated. Physical buttons for everything, and they're big, clear, easy to use buttons like that. Ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, and passenger has the same. Down here, to 12 volts and a USB, but it also has wireless charging that worked really well with my phone. It fits in there no problem and charges almost right away. Just a regular old automatic transmission. Does have manual mode if you pull it all the way down and then to the left, and I did use that as we were in the canyon for a little bit. Has the electronic parking brake, parking sensors, auto hold, so when you pull up to a stoplight it'll hold you, you don't have to keep your foot on the brake. And then the downhill brake control is what Kia calls this. Center differential lock, and this button remains recessed when it's on and is flush with the other ones when it's off. And then drive modes, of which there are 3: normal, eco, and sport. I spent most of my time in eco mode just because it's smoother that way on the accelerator, but if you want to off-road, sport mode is good for climbing hills, and eco mode's good for more precise movements, but you don't have as much torque down low, so sometimes sport mode's better because it gets you in the power range faster. But like I said, if you're trying to do precise movements, it's too jumpy on the throttle. In here, it's just a big empty space, which is fine. There's no charge ports or anything, but it is quite large. Up top, we do have a sunroof and panorama glass that go all the way back, and of course the front portion opens, and then sunglass holder. The mirror is just regular mirror. You can turn off the compass, and then your home link buttons are there, and the emergency buttons there. Also your information, whatever, you can call and have them assist you with getting directions or something if your map doesn't work, doesn't show it very well. It does have the SD card slot for the map in there. You can see the panorama roof opens up the middle row, makes it feel more airy, but even with the panorama roof, I have a decent amount of headroom here, and so if you had the hard top, you would have even more, I assume. Usually they take up space to add in this roof, so if you had the hardtop, you'd have even more headroom. But like I said, there's plenty of room here. There are 2 vents and 2 different charge ports, a USB and just a 12 volt. And then there are cup holders here on the side, power windows of course, and 2 cup holders here in the center armrest, which I always like having. They fold down center armrest for the rear seats. And not a lot going on. They're comfortable, still leather, and there are anchors for 2 car seats essentially. You could get 3 in there, maybe it's a little tight, but I would probably stick with 2. And you just pull this lever here to fold the seat. If you might need to do 2 hands, so pull that. There it goes. And you can see they have the anchors on the back of the seats. Seatbelt still there, and it does have anchors for all 3, but like I said, it's a little bit hard to fit 3 wide, and then the seat does not lift up on its own, so you have to pull the lever and lift the seat, and then it only goes to there, so it takes a little bit more. And then of course the passengers can adjust it and recline more if they want to. To open the rear hatch, there's just a button underneath there, and the glass doesn't open. I know you've been hearing me complain a lot about this recently, that I believe all vehicles that are hatchbacks should have the glass open on the hatch so you can pile more stuff in here, and this one does not have that. Cargo mats here, and underneath spare tire with a lot of extra space around it. This net can be adjusted so it can be hooked up here to keep stuff from falling out the back, which does help with the fact that you can't open the glass. But yeah, it has a, I don't know what that was before, just to hold stuff down to the ground, to the load floor, so it doesn't go rolling around on you. Cruising on the freeway in the Kia Sportage, at least this version of it, is quite nice. So that little turbocharged engine has quite a bit of power, and even at 60 miles an hour, we're going a little faster than that right now, but even at like 60 miles an hour, you can get on it a little bit, not have to downshift, and have enough power to pass or get around people. And it is pretty smooth. I wouldn't say it's the smoothest vehicle I've driven, but for a front-wheel drive based crossover, it does really quite well. And it's a little bit noisy, but nothing more than what I would expect for this vehicle. You have to turn up the radio quite a bit more, which is standard, you know, as you get up into higher speeds. There are a few vehicles where I haven't had to do that, but generally just the luxury vehicles. It is a good vehicle as far as power and maneuverability and stuff goes. It feels very stable, even at the higher speeds with wind gusts, whatever. I've taken this one a little bit further than most due to some events going on, so I was able to drive this a little bit more, and it's a good solid platform to drive. It's a small size, of course, but has a decent amount of space. I don't know, compared to the Nissan Kicks, if this thing's that much smaller on the outside, but it's definitely got more room inside. And the throttle pedal takes a little bit to get used to. I've been driving it mostly in eco mode, because if you put the pedal all the way down, the power is still there, and if you are trying to drive smoother, that's hard to do in normal and sport modes because it's so sensitive on the throttle. And sport mode does hold the gears and the transmission a little longer, keeps it in the higher RPM range, and so you're pretty much always on boost with the sport mode enabled. But yeah, like I said, I've been driving mostly in eco mode and been getting good gas mileage, nearly 25 miles per gallon. A lot of that was freeway with speed limits of 80 miles an hour, or driving around town. There was a decent amount of regular freeway speed, so our speed limit is 70, but for the most part, that's pretty good gas mileage for the amount of power that it has. And I don't know, I think that's about what I would expect from this vehicle, is 25, and we'll look at the combined, or the EPA ratings in a little bit. 0 to 60, flat footing it. We're going to start a little bit further up the hill this time. 3, 2, 1, go. So a tiny bit of turbo lag till you get to about 2,800 RPM. Then it kind of really takes off, and we are at 60. So not bad. This little turbocharged engine, lightweight vehicle, it gets up and goes. It does pretty well. So let's go over the window sticker real quick. This one is the 2020 Sportage SX all-wheel drive with the Pacific blue exterior paint and gray interior. The SX all-wheel drive comes with a ton of features: 2-liter turbocharged gas direct injection engine, 19-inch wheels, smart cruise control with stop and go, electronic parking brake, tons of stuff. I'm not going to go through all of that, but the additional equipment on this one is limited, I should say. Has the cargo mat, the crossbars, carpeted floor mats, cargo net, cargo cover, and the tow hitch. So all of those combined total like less than $1,000. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, basically $1,000, bringing the total $36,170. Add in destination of $1,120, and grand MSRP is $37,290. There is the fuel economy ratings, 21 combined, 19 city, 24 highway. I've been doing significantly better than that at 25 combined. And that includes playing around a little bit of off-roading. I haven't finished the off-road video, so that's going to go down a little bit. But I'm closer to this higher end, which is much better than that 21 combined. And if you just are going off of this, and maybe a lot of the other vehicles will be in that range, but that's not very good gas mileage for a vehicle of this size. Thank you for watching Engine Adventures review of this 2020 Kia Seltos SX all-wheel drive. It's really not a bad vehicle overall. It comes in about $37,000, so there are a lot of features you get for that price, but definitely on the higher end for vehicles in this class as far as the price goes. Overall, really enjoyed it. Had plenty of space, decently capable off-road. It's about what you'd expect, and a good amount of power for cruising on the freeway, getting up to speed around town. Really just did well overall. If you liked what you saw, be sure to hit subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications, hit the thumbs up, and comment down below. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down and comment down below letting me know why. Have a great day.